Stacy, and welcome to the kitchen of my old Kentucky home. Today on Bourbon and Biscuits, we're going to be taking advantage of Kentucky's vast summer bounty with cobblers, both the kind you can eat and drink. Let's get started. We're going to be making a Kentucky Blackberry cobbler. Here's what we'll need. 1 cup of self-rising flour, 1 cup of milk, 1½ plus 1 tablespoon of sugar, a half a stick of butter, and 2 cups of fresh blackberries. When the fruits of Kentucky summers start to roll in, one of the best and easiest things you can do with them is to make cobblers. And blackberry is one of my family's favorites. In fact, this was my grandmother's recipe. I had to call my mom last night to get it because I haven't made one in quite some time. So we're going to need first our 2 cups of fresh blackberries. You can also use frozen if you're making this out of season, but the fresh, of course, is going to be the best. We're going to take a half a cup of that 1½ plus 1 tablespoons of sugar that we had. Just pour it over the top of that. And then we're going to take 1 tablespoon, approximately, of this half a cup or 1 whole stick of butter. Simply going to mix this around and put it in the microwave to heat it through. Now back in the day, of course, my grandmother didn't have a microwave, so she had to do this stovetop, which you can certainly also do. Next, we'll make the pastry part of our cobbler. We're going to take our 1 cup of self-rising flour. Now you can also use all-purpose flour if that's all you have, and just Google the directions to add a little baking powder and salt to that. And we have the 1 cup of sugar and 1 cup of milk. We're just going to blend this. Now right now I have the casserole dish that I'm going to use heating up in the oven, melting the remaining butter. And we'll pull that out here in a second and add our pastry mix to this. It's not too much different than a pie crust, although a lot more sugar. As it turns out, my family's version of this cobbler recipe is a little different from a lot that I've seen in different cookbooks and in talking to Jessica about her family's with the biscuit drop topping style. This one is from the bottom up. It's the one that I grew up with. So we're going to take basically the dough or the pastry part and just put it in the casserole dish of your choice where I have the melted butter. And my mother said not to stir this part. So I'm just going to leave it like that. And then the next thing we're going to do is add back our blackberries that we've heated in the microwave, or in your case if you wanted to do it on the stove. So I'm just going to take the blackberries and sprinkle them over this batter. You can see how the sugar and a little of that butter really got the juice out of those fresh picked blackberries. We'll just stuff the rest of that on there. Okay, and our last thing, I saved 1 tablespoon of that sugar, and we're just going to sprinkle it over the top. It's definitely one sweet dish. All right, we're going to put this in a 350-degree oven and bake it for 55 minutes or until golden brown. And while that bakes, we're going to see Jessica's version of a drinkable cobbler.
Since Stacy's making a cobbler for dessert, I'm going to make a cobbler to drink. The cobbler is actually a pre-prohibition cocktail. It can have a lot of different variations, but you're always going to have a spirit, fruit, and sugar. And it actually became popular in the 1800s during the cocktail boom, and it was called a cobbler because of the cobbles of ice that you'd put it over, and this was also when ice became readily available to people. So today we're going to make our bourbon peach cobbler with 2 ounces of MB Roland, a ½ ounce of Dubonnet, which is a fortified red wine aperitif, a 1/4 ounce of simple syrup, pinch of cinnamon, and half of a fresh ripe peach. In a cocktail shaker, we're going to just add all of our ingredients. This is our 2 ounces of bourbon. And I had a little trouble finding Dubonnet at the liquor store, but it's going to be with your like vermouths and sherries and that kind of thing. And we're just going to use a pinch of this cinnamon that I have here. And we're going to drop in a whole half of a peach. And we're going to shake this vigorously. All right, so hopefully we've gotten some of that peach juice in here through shaking with the ice there. And we're gonna go ahead and strain this into our cocktail glass over ice. The Dubonnet gives it a really nice peachy color. And I'm going to garnish it with a slice of peach that has just been a little bit dipped in that cinnamon. So there you go. We've got a bourbon peach cobbler. Okay, so I've only ever seen cobbler made where you basically like drop biscuit dough on top, and it honestly blew my mind a little bit that the bottom of yours ended up on the top. I was shocked.
You were starting to scare me because, I don't know if I said this earlier, this is one of those things that I grew up eating.
Right.
But really hadn't made a lot without my mom.
Yeah.
Because she would make it, or my Aunt Brenda would bring them to the holiday dinners, my grandmother's, but I didn't realize, it's one of those things you don't know how strange your family is. No, not that strange. But yeah, all the recipes that I did see that weren't my family's were that put it on afterwards.
Yeah.
So,
Like surprised and delighted when it came out.
I don't know, I can't explain how it works. I guess it's a self-rising flour.
I guess so.
Yeah. So
Science and magic.
That's right. Okay, so you know I have to have a touching, heartwarming family story about this, right? And it's not just this was my grandmother's recipe, which is very touching, but it was my grandfather's that procured the blackberries each summer. And I've always said I had kind of one that lived more out in the country and then one that lived more in the city, actually in this neighborhood that we still live in. So he would, have to show you this,
Okay.
he would take a milk jug and cut out like this part right here. And so you could still have a handle to hold. So it's like a
Nice
scoop.
little homemade
You do
bucket.
one for each of us kids, yeah. And we would trumps into the little woods, kind of a municipal urban woods behind his house in Crescent Hill, and find the random blackberry bushes that were blooming.
That's funny.
And come home and we'd have to be purple all
Public
everywhere.
blackberries.
Yeah, we'd have to be hosed down, but that's what Nanny would use to make the blackberry cobblers with.
Well, that's fun.
Yes. Lots of childhood
That is
memories
very
there.
sweet.
And speaking of my grandfather, he would love this drink because he liked blackberries, but he loved those summertime peaches.
And they're abundant right now, and I kind of thought that with the blackberries, I didn't want to go double blackberry cobbler, and peaches and blackberries have a nice complementary flavor, so
Definitely.
did a peach
I
cobbler
could even
for
see
you.
putting them in, like doing a double fruit
Absolutely.
Pastry cobbler.
All right, so we'll see you next time on Bourbon
And biscuits.
Cheers.
Cheers.